What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Adventures Tower. Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3 is here. This was the Big Vader episode. Hayden Christensen back, doing his thing. Red lightsaber, fighting Kenobi. And unfortunately for me, I actually didn't love this episode. And as I look out online, I think I might be in the minority here. I don't know. We're definitely going to have to talk about this as a community. I want to talk about some things that I thought were very good in the episode. Then I'll sort of get into my complaints about the episode. And then I want to finish off this video talking about some of the things that were teased out for the future episodes, which I am still really excited about. I mean, it's definitely too early to call the Kenobi show one way or the other. And I did really enjoy the first two episodes. It does, kind of suck that I didn't absolutely love episode 3. Really wanted the Vader episode to be absolutely incredible, but we will get into that. Some of the things that were good in the episode were Leia, again, and the scenes that she has with Ewan. They just have such good chemistry. I really actually liked her asking him about the Force and him explaining it as, being afraid of the dark, and then the security you feel when you put that light on. The opening sequence where Kenobi's meditating, having all of these memories of the different lines that were said during the prequels, and then us seeing Vader be put together after coming out of that bacta tank was incredible. The music, the way it's shot, it's just so damn cool, man, and it looks brutal to be Vader. I loved seeing Vader on Mustafar. I thought that was freaking awesome. I love the concept of this path, the Underground Railroad, and the whole journey to Jabim. We're going to talk more about that at the end of the video. Crazy stuff going on there with Quinlan Vos and possible connections to not only Saw Gerrera and the Partisans, but also what's happening in the Jedi Survivor game, maybe Cal Kestis and some super fun stuff like that. Vader himself, when he arrives in the village, pretty freaking epic, and it starts out absolutely terrifying. Him recognizing that Kenobi is there, likely watching that, and then him being absolutely brutal, killing a bunch of civilians as he walks down the middle of this little village. It was freaking terrifying. Really, really well done. The part in the back half of the fight where Vader is literally setting all of that stuff on fire and dragging Kenobi through the flames was absolutely epic. Very, very brutal stuff. And so once again, just like episodes 1 and 2, there were a lot of really great moments and things that I quite enjoyed as a Star Wars fan in episode 3. It's just that there were a lot of things in this episode in particular that did bug me. Number one, the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors continue to be, I think, a super weak part of the show. I almost wish they were all just removed from the show and they just had Vader and perhaps some other Imperials. I've also heard rumors that at one time it was going to be maybe Cody searching for Kenobi and having the 501st or some members of the 501st be there, and it was switched to the Inquisitors, which I don't hate at face value, but they just so one-dimensional and really goofy, and they just don't seem important. They totally glaze over the Grand Inquisitor. Like, as far as the show is concerned, he's dead, and I doubt they're even going to address it further. There'll be some kind of weird explanation as to why he's still alive in Rebels, but I'm kind of at this point guessing that'll happen off screen in some book, comic book, novel, or something like that, which feels very weak to me. They literally just put this character in there and created this position where you're going to need a new Grand Inquisitor, and that's really what all the other Inquisitors are arguing about or biting for, which is so weird. I really didn't like Seth Rogen's alien. Frick, I was like, what the frick is this goofy looking rat pig man doing here? Farmer? Bunch of Imperials on a weird planet? I don't know, man. Just didn't love that part of it. The Vader sequences, which again start so cool at the beginning of the episode with him getting put together, him on Mustafar, him actually going through that village and killing all the civilians, becomes pretty rapidly just weird, uneven, and kind of unimpressive to me. I mean, he literally just fights Kenobi by sort of following him around as Kenobi continues to run away behind mounds of sand or dirt. And I think this location is completely uninspired. Like, I know their second fight is rumored to be like on Mustafar or one of the moons of Mustafar, and so it'll be much more visually similar to what you get in Revenge of the Sith. But like, to go from Revenge of the Sith to like what kind of looks like just a regular ass quarry or mounds of sand, it's not that great. Like, I really feel like Star Wars needs to stop just going out into the desert and shooting stuff that way. And after they play their weird game of tag where he's, just running away from him past little mounds of dirt and Vader's just slowly going after him, the fight itself, when they actually start making contact with the lightsabers, wasn't that great. The choreography was uninspired. And I know that Vader's like toying with him here, but it still could have just been done so much better. And I honestly just didn't get the sense that Vader was this just super powerful force of nature like I have gotten before with different versions of Vader, like Vader in Rogue One in the hallway scene, Vader in Rebels. Just Vader in a lot of different iterations has been depicted as this total and complete badass. And in this situation here with Obi-Wan, like, some people are saying it looks like it was like a bad fan film or something like that. Like, I wouldn't go that far. I still think it looks pretty good and of high quality, but with a total uninspired backdrop of this location and with the choreography of the fight actually not being very impressive, I was left very underwhelmed. Then at the end of the episode, this picks up a little bit when you do see him, like setting that fire and dragging Kenobi through the fire. But immediately after that, the Game of Thrones lady comes in and essentially saves Kenobi by setting the fire that Vader just not only started, but then put out. And Vader just stands there and he looks at Kenobi being rescued by a droid, and apparently all of the other stormtroopers around cannot actually shoot through fire. Now, I'll be reasonable about this because initially when I saw this, it bothered me a lot and I just saw no reason for it. When I watched it the second time, it does seem pretty clear that Anakin or Vader is noticing that Obi-Wan has help in some way and he is choosing to let Obi-Wan go because, yeah, he's going to probably then track him and then discover who are these people helping Kenobi. But honestly, even though it is explained somewhat, or that is a possible explanation for it, I still just absolutely hate that, because why would he care? Vader should be so consumed with anger and revenge when it comes to Kenobi. Like, I just don't see why, even if he sees that he's getting help, why wouldn't he just capture that person, torture that person, and his main concern should still be just getting Kenobi and torturing him and hurting him. So I don't know, man. Like, it's just, it's in my opinion, a really, really lackluster way to have an ending to kind of an underwhelming first conflict between Kenobi and Vader. On top of that, Reva seemingly just can use the Force in such a way that she knows exactly what's going on. Like, she found where Leia and Game of Thrones lady were hiding. She found where the back room was so easily, and she's able to go ahead of Leia and kill the pilot before Leia arrives there. It's like weird, dude. It's that really bad version of writing where there's no character development, no struggle for this character whatsoever. She's just walking through the story, being overly confident, overly competent, and none of what she's doing feels earned. And so I'm just really let down by the usage of Reva in this episode and in the show so far. Now, having said that, there's of course a ton of fun stuff that's set up, mostly with regards to Jabeam, to Quinlan Voss helping smuggle Force-sensitive children there for this installation wherever they're going to end up going. This place is going to be freaking awesome, and it's going to be really cool to actually see this go down and to see what kind of Jedi are there. There's chances for all kinds of cameos. Maybe Quinlan is actually there. Maybe Cal Kestis is actually there. Maybe this will connect in the Jedi Fallen Order or the Jedi Survivor games, which would be really, really cool. But we're also heading towards a scenario where Vader, according to the logic of this episode, is likely going to arrive on Jabeam with a bunch of these Inquisitors and, Force troopers or whatever. So I'm super excited to see what could be going on over there. The chance to see a bunch of different lightsabers, open field battle with Imperials as they're coming in to shut them down, and perhaps the possibility of a lot of these characters surviving past that conflict, being in other, properties down the line or whatever. There's a lot of intrigue there. So I am really interested in this, and it is helping to inform us of what was going on in the galaxy at this time when the rebellion is still like kind of not even a thing yet, and perhaps some of this will carry on into Andor and other things like that. And of course, it is totally fair to bring up the fact that there's going to be more Vader. You're going to be seeing more of Vader in the show, and there was really good stuff here. I assume the next fight will be much more just extravagant. I mean, Kenobi should have sort of found himself at that time, because I believe, what's going to happen is the Jedi and what's going on Jabim is going to like kind of reinvigorate his spirit. And so there's still plenty of time for way better Vader stuff. And there's also the possibility that what happens next will actually explain what is happening in episode 3. Like, something I thought of was, well, maybe Vader just hates Kenobi so much that he thinks that Kenobi will lead him to this other group of Jedi, and what Vader really wants to do is like allow Kenobi's hope to be rekindled a little bit, only to further snuff it out, which is like a level of being sadistic and very evil and more Vader. But I still just, I don't love it, man. I would have much rather seen force of nature Vader that just grabs Kenobi and puts him right back into the fire, like salutes Game of Thrones lady up on the hill and is like, thank you, this fire's even better for torturing Obi-Wan, and like put him right back in there or something, really fry him up. So for me, I'd probably say 7 out of 10 for this episode. My least favorite so far, which is so weird to say because it is the Vader episode and there is a lot of good Vader in here, but it just feels like a little bit disappointing. An ending I'm not crazy about. A lot of weird stuff with Reva. Inquisitor stuff just passing right on the Grand Inquisitor. And so this episode to me is taking a turn in a direction I'm not super down with. Totally possible that for me personally, it will pick back up in episode 4 and end up being an incredible Star Wars series, but it's really uneven for me for now. This is not exactly what I wanted after 3 episodes of Kenobi. I definitely don't hate it. I think it's a fun show, and I'm sure many of you vehemently disagree. I've seen a ton of people online being like, no, man, I love this episode. I thought this episode was absolutely awesome, so perhaps I'm in the minority here on this one, but yeah, just not my favorite. Feel like they could have done more, and feel like the ending is pretty weird. But of course, let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below, and we will be streaming, talking all about this on our live streaming channel probably tomorrow, and you just kind of want to keep an eye out on the channel here for a lot more Star Wars content, Kenobi content, and more.